and welcome everyone to another How to Introduce. This week we're going to be tackling the champions from Marvel. Part of me had a little panic that we've done this one before, but I don't think we did. So if we have, hey, this is different because it's not going to be the same.
2.0.
Hopefully it's not going to be the same idea, but
Yeah, well, we'll
You
find
get-
out when someone says, "Hey, didn't you do this already?"
I mean, if we did, then we'll quickly change it next week. So there you go.
It's 2.0.
Oh yeah, we're rebooting the franchise before it's even come out, so that's one way.
We're pulling the WB and just rebooting it before.
Right, so as always, I'm Mitch. You can follow me on Twitter at Mitch692, and as always, I'm joined by Sean.
What's up? You can just join me right here. Yeah. That's it.
You're kind of robot-y right now.
Oh, am I?
Yeah.
Is it okay?
Nope.
Okay, hold on. The circle pepper.
The wonders of Japanese mountain signal.
Yes.
We will
Yeah.
make this
Yeah.
work. See, whatever
They,
you were before was fine.
Okay. I'm circling back now, so they perfected everything else except for Wi-Fi signal in the mountains.
Mountain range Wi-Fi.
Surprising.
But yeah, so you sound well. Hopefully, you sound good now. I hope you're right.
Just let me talk now with roboting out.
I say it sounds fine, but I'll let you know.
It sounds fun.
So
Okay.
So yeah, to get right into it, as always, director starts off.
Yeah.
Who would get to direct?
Man, you want something quirky. I like Peyton Reed for some reason. I don't know. I've been having ever since Mando, and then
he did a very good Mandalorian episode. I don't get why people didn't like it. Like it's like, hey, I get that it was kind of a filler episode, but I
hate the word filler. I think it has. I don't know. I love his sense of directing. I mean, I love what he does with the Ant-Man series. Do I want to see him do Fantastic Four or something like that? Yeah, sure, but I don't know. I'm in the Peyton Reed camp with this for some reason.
Fair enough. I'm going John Watts.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't. I just like the feel of his Spider-Man and how that comes across, and it's like, hey, we could use that over here.
Yeah, he has definitely nailed the tone of Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's exactly what Champions needs. So that's sort of like being your own thing, stepping out of a shadow sort of direction is what Champions needs.
Plus, he does the youth, very very good. The Spider-Man thing is a very good example of that. And that's good. That's better. That's better than mine.
All right. Oh, I didn't think of a villain. Goddamn. Your cast, your main cast, the core characters, your main team.
So, I haven't nailed the actors yet, but the characters, I want to kind of just keep the same feel of the Champions, but make it a little bit different. Because, Hulk, the Amadeus Cho version of the Hulk isn't there, and we're definitely not going to go with Kid Cyclops. But
oh god, I forgot about it.
Well, to fill that gap, I would probably use Wiccan and Speed, since
it's taking him away from Young Avengers. Then,
yeah, I don't know. That's true. Shoot.
I mean, your movie.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm probably gonna just skirt him back over to Young Avengers after that. But I'm trying to figure out who, because I'm going to introduce Sam.
Yeah.
the kid Nova,
Oh,
and
Sam
then
Alexander.
and since Kang is going to be around after before this, so instead of making Vision's kid, kind of combine them with Iron Lad, and just kind of like an amalgamation of the two characters. And then of course Miles. I mean, and Kamal Khan is going to be there anyway, so that's probably the
you gotta
easiest.
have your trio. You gotta have your champion trinity.
I think the Kamal Khan thing is the easiest because of just hey, she's already here, and she's already cast, so like it's a no-brainer.
I say Kamala Khan in this is the middle square in bingo right now.
Yeah,
cool. She's been cast.
Yeah, it's like here's your free space, So, villain wise, I'm trying to. You got to give me a little break on this one because I'm jet lagged, so I'm like not fully potentially, but like I kind of want to like follow the first arc of the first series, kind of change it a little bit because like Civil War 2 didn't happen, so
it doesn't need.
Yeah, it doesn't need to. And then I always wanted to maybe bring back the Accords to use in the story at some point, because it's like it's the remnants of Civil War, the movie, that was interesting that I would love to bring in. Not to say that they're not going to bring it back anytime sooner rather than later, but like in this reality, when this movie's going on, this is like when I would bring it back, like into effect. I don't. Yeah.
So you got a villain in mind?
I was thinking since Kang is there, try to use that because like the amalgamation with Viz and Iron Lad, and like she's like like the catalyst to him being there.
Not bad.
Sorry.
Very young Avengers-y. I can get with
that.
I know a lot of people kind of don't see the point in the Young Avengers and the Champions. Oh, it's a merge the two. So it's like at least someone here is like slightly merging the two.
Yeah, I'm sure it's going to come back and bite me in the butt eventually when we do the Young Avengers, because
guess what's next?
Yeah, this is going to be a one podcast story arc. But like, I think they're a little bit more different than. I think it's kind of weird to say that they're just basically the same group because they're not.
Very different ideals and viewpoints.
Yeah, I mean, there's like more differences than like similarities. Especially with how the group came about. Like
I say, it's like New Gods and Eternals. It's like, yeah, cool. They share like one thing. It stops there. The rest is totally different.
Totally different. Yeah, it's like the similarities are superficial at best.
Very few and far between. Very few and far.
It's like,
well, yeah. I'm just gonna run down. I've kept very much the core three. So you got your Kamala, your Miles, and your Sam. I assume it is Iman Vellani, isn't it? Is that how you say it, or Vellani?
Yeah.
I have no idea how you pronounce it, and I've never heard it be said, so I've only ever seen it written down, so I have no idea. The rest are all... I've tried to go for as unknown as possible.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they'd be good for the role or bad for the role, whatever. It's just like they're unknowns. They fit the bill, looks wise and
appearances.
Yeah, all the the good reppy stuff. So Niles Fitch for Miles.
Okay.
I just realised how close Niles and Miles is. That was not the reason why. Jake T. Austin for Nova. Now, I think Jake T. Austin was already in the Disney wheelhouse, because I want to say he was in Wizards of Waverly Place.
Wizards of Waverly Place, yeah.
I could be wrong, but he rings a bell.
No, you're right.
Snow Guard, because we got to show Jim Zub some love. Like, come on now. Really cool design, really cool character. Amandla Stenberg, I think I'm pronouncing that right. Amadeus Chohulk, because you got to have Braun in there somewhere. Bay In Hugh, I think that's how you pronounce it. I went for Riri Williams on this one. Like, Riri's one of those where you could introduce it later down the line, or you can just bring her in straight away, because it's like she kind of came in pretty quick.
Yeah. Again, plus she's like inevitable. It's like a legacy character too. On top of that,
let's be honest. Like, it's not like the champions aren't built upon legacy characters. No.
Yeah, I mean,
Rayleigh Downs.
You got Miles. You got Kamal.
Yeah, I think it's happy now. Is it Rayleigh Downs for Reinhardt? Viv is going to be Abigail Cohen. And I know her name from somewhere, and I could not remember where it's from, but they're all relatively unknowns. And I think, from the Miss Marvel casting alone, it's like, you go unknowns. They're all in a very similar age range as well. They're late to early, no, not late to early teens. They're late teens, early 20s. So they're very much in that ballpark. So,
yeah, that wheelhouse, yeah.
Yeah, it brings a bit of authenticity to everything. I'm not entirely sure, villain-wise, who I go for, to be honest. I can't really think of a villain the champions went against. Especially early on. Because early on, it was very much them just establishing themselves.
Yeah. Those are like a lot of like the antagonists were really antagonists.
You're breaking up again.
The antagonists weren't always antagonists.
Got Ultron up in
here. He's coming back.
I hope he comes back.
Ultron, come on. Like,
if we get Vision back, where the damn hell is my Ultron?
Right. I mean, without saying anything, I mean, like, you think about it though. Vision, I mean, Ultron is like probably one of the most easiest characters to bring back. 100%. If they don't bring him back at some point, then there's something that missing.
I say there's about 8 different ways you can bring Ultron back, and it's like, hey Marvel, they're all free. I can give me a call, I'll tell you them. It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah, but I mean, it's like it's like one of those characters. Like robot characters are like easiest characters to bring back, and like you could justify bringing back Ultron super easy. I mean, you can almost bring him back in a show, And then,
can you now?
Nah. I am not saying anything. I'm just saying, just off the cusp. I'm not saying he's in a show, but he can be brought back in a show. Like, I mean, he could be brought back in WandaVision. I mean, I could say the same thing. Aaron Tarantino, the Quicksilver could be brought back. It's, but like characters like Ultron, it's like, they're not really truly dead. They're just not, there's no physical.
No.
He's.
The more I think, I know I brought it up as a joke because of the signal. Like, the more I think about it, the way I kind of want to handle this team and try to establish that they're not the Young Avengers, they're not the Avengers. They do stand for something. Like, they want the same goal, but they want to go about it differently.
Different way.
I think Ultron might be a good character to bring in and do that.
Well, then you got the connection with Viz, in like some capacity.
Yeah.
And Ultron could be like, you look like. I don't know. You look like characters I used to, like, especially with, Riri being in there, like, it's Iron Man basically, right?
Yeah.
And what is his feelings of Iron Man? He hates him, so
he's got those daddy issues. But yeah, I think actually Ultron could make a really interesting opening villain. Obviously not a massive, huge, full-powered Ultron.
No.
But maybe like an Ultron behind the scenes sort of
a
thing.
baby Ultron.
Yeah. Like
I mean,
like they're using a head to connect to the network or something, and he's manipulating it from the scenes because he can't really do much 'cause he's stuck in this one body.
I would love to bring in MODOK here and here somehow. I want MODOK in something.
I just want Patton Oswalt MODOK to be
Yeah.
live action.
Like like I mean, the team has like a history of battling Hydra and stuff like that. So it's like
I was
switch out
also
Hydra for
got
team.
a history of battling second-rate D-list villains.
And MODOK is the best of those.
Exactly, it's what they go after. But I think
Yeah.
I kind of really want. Like, I think if you're going to try and establish these as going for a different ideology, you need to make a really different type of film, or even a series. Actually, it doesn't matter which way this one goes. So it's like, maybe don't go all like big bombastic superhero stuff. I know it's a comic book movie. You got to have some kind of action in there somewhere at some point. But like you just have it kind of
you
more
can take elements of
themselves.
Well, you can take elements of like put them in a high school or something like that. You know, like what they did in the comics. You know, and you know. I don't want to say CW them, but
No,
like
definitely not.
That's more kicking the
tacos. So I keep thinking, going back to, I think Saladin and Med wrote the issue where I want to say it was Champions, or it might have been a Miles Morales issue where there was a gun, like a shooting in the school.
Yeah,
and so if I kind of want to base it around stuff like that. Just
like
to establish, just to show how different they are. Like they're not the big world-saving one. Like they'll get there eventually, but they're starting off real small, real more home issues that need to be resolved.
Yeah.
Like there's not a villain per se, but there's something that needs to be changed.
I mean, that's been one of the problems with the comics for me is like there's really no like the main antagonist of like what was the first arc was like was the sheriff, you know, of town, you know. But
wasn't it? Yeah.
So it's like it's kind of hard to like, you know, put like. I mean, I think your idea of like maybe Ultron in a different type of like form, you know, like maybe he's trying to reconstitute himself, put him back together. He starts somewhere, they notice it, and they stop him, or they're trying to stop him before he becomes, you know, Ultra Prime or whatever, you know, whatever you want to call him.
Yeah.
You know, and like the whole movie is just them racing against the clock, you know, because like he's trying to put himself back together physically. I don't know, you know, and just like, and you could just salt and pepper the like, you know, the effects of like, I mean, you can almost use like, I don't know, you could probably incorporate like cyberbullying and like, you know, like.
I think I'd want Ultron in this. The more I think about it, because him going, oh, you don't want it to change, and it's like, they want change. So he kind of, it could be seen as a manipulated thing. I think I kind of want to save like Ultron proper until a third movie.
Well, like the Ultron that you see is not the Ultron that is the Ultron you know. It's just more of like a teenage version of that. You know, I don't know if you understand. Like maybe I'm not like he's not.
So what you're saying we could do is we could make Viv Ultron.
I mean, look, you know, like.
Well, not necessarily like Viv, like the personality of Viv will be there, but like
she's kind of like
he's manipulating.
I don't want to use like the cyborg thing where he's he's sort of like you don't know which side he's on because he's been
the mother
put
box
together.
Is like touching on him. Yeah.
But you could do it better.
You could actually do it for a start.
But you know, like have Viv be like the question mark. You know, like is she like a part of him, or you know, like she could be the connection.
I like
you know
what I'm saying? I like that because it brings the whole family tree together. It's like it's the what would it be? It'd be the granddaughter, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's the granddaughter, maybe you just do it like, oh, Viv's connected to the network and she finds a trace of Ultron.
Yeah.
Just
It,
chilling in the internet somewhere.
and I mean, if you think about it, it's not like, I mean, I'm saying this about a comic book movie, but it's not too far fetched to have, like traces. There's going to be traces of Ultron, because he is, he is, like, I mean, if the movie hasn't, yeah, he's Ultron, like he's literally everywhere, he's the internet.
He's just some random like malware virus from uTorrent or Pornhub or something. Like he's just chilling.
But tell me, like, I don't know, maybe I'm kind of stretching it, but like, do you think you could bring back Paul Bentley? Like, you can still have Paul Bentley as Vision, but have him as Jarvis too, for some, like, just have him maybe the voice in the inside of Viv.
I mean, because you're a little bit robot-y.
I mean, it sounds
tiny robot-y.
Okay,
tiny bit.
I'm turning into Ultron again.
I mean, bringing Jarvis back would be interesting. That would be a
because he's a very integral part of Ultron.
Yeah, I suppose you could say Ultron is masquerading as Jarvis. Yeah, so you get Paul Bettany to do that voice. Maybe replace. Actually, no, don't replace Bettany with Spade or Spade with Bettany.
Well, I mean, you could bring them both in eventually. I mean, like you can have Spader come back. It's like when he's revealed. I was
gonna say, like, if we layer the two voices over the top of each other, that would be a really cool Ultron voice.
That would be scary,
terrifying, but a really cool Ultron voice.
In this, I mean, I don't know. Maybe you could have a cameo by Vision.
Yeah, 100%.
Like seeing that he is like, maybe she goes to him saying, "I hear this. She maybe doesn't know exactly what it is per se, but then she,
she does that typical kid, like teenage thing of hiding something from the parents, but she has to ask the parents about something without telling them what she's talking about, and then, then it kind of sets Vision off. That'd be really establish the whole teen thing about it. I quite like that.
I don't know. The hardest thing about Viv is like, how do you explain the relationship between her and Vision, and knowing that Vision in this MCU is with Scarlet Witch?
Right. Does WandaVision explain how there's two twins when there's Vision right there?
It's true. Well, I mean,
like, does Vision summon it like a cape in Age of Ultron? Is that how it works?
Yeah. Well,
or does he do the Shape of Water thing, where the fish guy, like, where it opens up and flicks down? Like, how does that work for Vision? Like, I mean, you can have a black guy and a white woman, or the other way around, and one kid could be white, one not.
That's true.
Maybe the third child just comes out as a robot.
Third child. I mean, look, it's not out of the realm of possibility.
Maybe Vision just gets jealous of the fact that she's made life by herself, and he's like, I'm gonna make myself a daughter. Bam! Yeah. There we go.
In my image.
At least the Vision one's gonna be completely real, not some imagination baby.
Yeah. Well, I mean, who's to say it's an imagination baby?
I mean, there is that. I mean, if Vision actually has a functioning, working body part, then
that's
fair play to that toaster got mad skills to do that.
He got a massive upgrade, that's for sure.
Just add one letter to Cyberpunk, and
upgrade 2.0. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't know. I love the character. I just like, I just feel like maybe it's opening a can of worms. I don't know, but like,
I think the can of worms has been open ever since. The whole, they're in the same movie together, and everyone's just kind of like, cool.
That's true. Yes. I guess saying that, knowing what I know, is kind of a stupid, kind of stupid. But I
think because the movies have never ever brought attention to it, no one's questioned it. It's just like, this is the thing. You're going to accept it. Moving on. No, we're not going to explain it. You can make all You let your imagination run wild. We ain't getting an answer in it. Maybe they
Yeah, I
answer
think
something WandaVision. I don't know.
well, I think once you start answering questions, that's when it becomes like kind
That's
of
when you
flimsy.
start overcomplicating it. It becomes
Yeah.
convoluted, and it's like we didn't need to know that. Like, it's Vision's other head as red as his face. Like, we don't need to know
the
this.
time travel paradox where you start
Exactly.
talking about how time travel works. That's when you start losing people because it's overcomplicating them. Just
Does it
say
look like
it
a Christmas tree with this color scheme? Who knows? I don't know.
Or I mean, you could also, divert from. And just say Viz was created by. Riri. Just kind of like repeating the same cycle. But it'd be kind of cheap, right? You're like,
yeah, I think that'd be a bit weird. Yeah.
It'd just be like, okay, well, didn't Tony do the same thing?
You just have Amadeus there as well, and just really ape the fact that the Iron and Hulk character made the robot.
Or you can bring back the Age of Ultron. What's the casket card? What was that casket called that she had?
Is the casket or the cradle? I want to say it was
the cradle. The cradle, yeah. You could
bring the cradle back. Yeah, why not?
You can make that a full circle and just say, hey, like it did it once. We have records of Vision's, mind.
These parents must have had the luckiest job because these Vision's kids were never kids. They were just teenagers. Wanda's kids are like, oh, we're born. Hey, we're teenagers. They don't have
days later.
They don't have to like stress and go through all the worry of like those 18 years. It's like bam, they're here.
Yeah, that's problems too because like there's no 18 years of experiences and stuff like that. You're just like
it was very
you're
true.
An 18-year-old in a you're like a 2-year-old or a 1-year-old in an 18-year-old body.
Very true.
And we might see stuff like that in the show.
I think you went a bit robot-y there. I don't know.
I'm sorry, I trailed off a little bit. It might have been because I got one robot again. I apologize. I love the champions, but it's just like you have to be super creative when it comes to.
Yeah, because you've got to make them. You got to make them stand completely differently to everyone else.
And then you got to come up with a great idea to, like, you can't just toss you can't just toss somebody in there to be the antagonist. It has to be like.
I think you have to build up to an antagonist.
Yeah, and I like the idea of the Ultron thing because you could do that. Like he can. The first movie could be just him. Coming back, and then like the second movie could be him in a adolescent form.
Yeah.
And then so on and so forth. And then you get James Spader to voice the adolescent, which is creepy.
That would be weird. Why does this small like robot child sound like a 60-year-old man?
But the only thing I would want if they brought back Spader, the only thing I would want is him to fix that performance a little bit, like him. As much as I loved his voice for the character, wasn't a huge fan of the dialogue.
Oh, the dialogue was my favorite bit. That speech, that like monologue he gives when he's floating above Sokovia. It's spot on Ultron. Right.
There's some of that I do like. Don't get me wrong, but then there were times like with the him and Claw, like it just didn't. I just had a hard time. Like it was kind of inconsistent for me. I did like that monologue at the end, but that
monologue's like my favorite MCU line.
and then the second thing I would want is like no moving mouth.
Yeah, we ain't having Ultron with teeth. That is in the past. That is there. We don't.
I want that
teeth.
I want that weird grin on his face with the energy in the middle, and then you just stay there. You don't need.
So it hasn't even got to be a grin. You just do the circles and then the slit for the mouth. Like, you just do it that way. You know, it hasn't got to be pointy or anything.
Just no animatronic mouths or anything like that.
Yeah.
That was the only. Those are the only two things I had like a huge. The dialogue not so much, but the visuals, which is like.
I'll say the thing with the mouth, and I've said it before on here. I can live with it moving, as long as there's just the red.
Yeah.
In the mouth.
It just looked like a human being, man.
Like if there's the teeth and then like it looks too human, no. I understand you don't want to be a Terminator, but guess what came first? It was Ultron. Use Ultron. No, you're not gonna oh no, we can't do Doom because of Darth Vader. Like, no, that's dumb.
Well, I always thought the casting was perfect, spot on.
100%.
With him.
Yeah.
It just was the aesthetic look of Ultron was kind of what really threw me off, man. Is like the minute I seen the movie, I remember, man, I don't think I was around the company when that maybe I was, I don't know. It
was like 2013, wasn't it? Because it came out in 2015.
Yeah. I can't remember that far back, but I remember seeing like maybe it was because I did see like a previs something. Someone showed me.
The concept art for Ultron is like, what? It was right there.
Yeah,
why did you not go with this one?
It was super perfect, but then like, I don't know what happened between that and the actual, completed, effect. It just, I don't know, man. Like the mouth, that was the only thing that threw me off. It was just like, I don't want to see his mouth move. I don't think it needs to move. I think it's creepier with just that permanent, like, I don't know, a static look to his face, like versus like I have to have human lips,
I can live with a moving jaw is the extent. Like the second you start having the like simulated lips and teeth, you've gone too far. You've made a bad choice.
You're getting into the Bayformer realm when you do that.
That
was not a good look. I did not. I just never understood.
Man, I never made that connection before, and now I dislike that Ultron even more. Wow.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you look at Optimus Prime, it's like
it's exactly the same.
Why do you need why do you need mouth? Like the cartoon had it perfectly. Like it's just.
Yeah, I was gonna say that the cartoon, he'd been without a mouth.
Well, I mean, you kind of have your cake and eat too, because that little piece moves like a lip, or a mouth, So, but it looks like a robot versus whatever the heck that the Transformers was. It's like I don't want to see human qualities on these robots. Like
you don't like the robot beards they have. How robots grow beards? I don't know. What part of the car transforms into that beard? I'd love to know.
Yeah, the problem, like. I could go on and on about the problems with those movies, but like, I think the biggest problem was just like, where does the Transformer begin and where does it end? Because like it all looks the same, and then it gets worse when they're fighting, because you don't know which is which. Like you only see like it's very confusing. I don't know. I never really understood the whole anthropomorphized. I can never say that word, but like
anthropomorphic.
Yeah, like the robot characters. It's just,
robots should be robots. You can humanize them to an extent, like Terminator does it, but at the end of the day, they have to have some robotic quality, so it's a robot.
Yeah, I just love that old Ultron look.
Yeah, and like it's there's a reason why it's been around since day dot, because it works.
And I think. If you watch the cartoon, it almost perfectly it has the static face, and then the energy moves when he talks. So it's like you could have done something like that, and it would have been perfect. I don't know. It just it was like that uncanny valley when I seen it the first time. I was like, I'm not loving it. Like I'm not loving it. I'm ignoring it, and it's hard to ignore when he's in the frame when he's talking.
Yeah, but especially when you take the entire screen, it's just like, oh no,
yeah,
yeah.
And then on top of that, like, it's like the drones had it perfectly, right? The look of it was.
That was the worst part. It's like they're right there.
Yeah, it's like
they're
like
staring. You have them right there.
It's like you're staring at the
would
finish
never
line and you're
forgive-
walking around.
I will never forgive that Empire cover. Where it's like, here's your look for Captain America, here's your look for Iron Man, here's Ultron, just like, oh my god, they've done it.
God.
And it's
Yeah.
no, that's just
And it's
drunk.
like, that's just the. And it's like, yeah, I don't know, man. It just felt to me like you could have ate the drone look and made it more refined and like said,
Yeah.
hey, this is what it looks like. Like I thought the first time you seen Ultron was perfect. It could have evolved from that and kept that aesthetic, and like it just didn't. And I'm like, I hold Whedon responsible for that, even if he didn't directly have any input on this. I still hold him.
I mean, he gets final say. He's director.
Yeah, I don't know. It just seems like a Joss Whedon call. Like, hey, let's make it funny. Wouldn't it be funny if his mouth moved? Not really.
I mean, let's be honest. We've got the funky red go-go boots for Cap.
Yeah.
We've got the teeth for Ultron. Like,
uh-huh.
he had to have something go wrong in those movies.
Yeah.
And
Ultron was it.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. It was just like sorely disappointing when I saw his mouth move, and I was like, "Oh, you killed whatever momentum you had, man."
Just like, oh no.
But Spader was perfect, man.
He was, and I'd love to hear Spader just completely rattle like these teenagers. Superheroes.
And like you could almost have him kind of like the Ghost in the Machine type of situation for them. It's like, I don't know if you've ever seen that movie. It's a late '90s horror movie where
I was gonna say Ghost in the Shell or Ghost in the Machine.
It's called Ghost in the Machine. It's basically the machine terrorizes people.
Yeah,
and he's like autonomous, and like he's almost like a voice. Or just you can almost start off with Ultron just being messages typed on a screen, and just kind of evolve from that.
Yeah, I'd love that. If that's how, like, Viv finds him in the internet somewhere, and then it just evolves from the text, and slowly he just comes, like, over the 3 movies, he just comes creeping up. Like, I'd love that.
Just kind of like the first word is hello, how are you doing, and then next thing you know, it's just like full on, like it's. It's like it's one of those like old school type and those like games where you type in the answer and it types back.
It's the green, it's the green block for the cursor, and it just goes
the Unix look,
Oh.
and like it just would be perfect because you could it would be built. You could use it as like build a suspense because like the audience knows who it is, but they don't know who it is, and they can't, and they're like it like you could just evolve into.
Well, that's the wondrous thing about doing that. You haven't got to tell the audience who it is.
Yeah, I mean, like the audience wouldn't be stupid. They know. I would feel like they would have an inkling who it is.
I mean, you can clock onto it once it starts talking, but before that, you haven't got to reveal who it is.
Oh yeah. Like that when all you see is just like words typed on a screen, you're like, okay, I don't know who this is, but this is kind of scary. The machine's talking to me. It's like war games, you know.
And it's just all really sincere. It's like, do you want to change the world?
Yeah.
Do this.
It starts off like asking about your day, and the next thing you know, he's like, "How would you like to change the world?" And like, if that popped on the screen on my iPhone, I'd be kind of terrified. I'd just instantly turn my phone off. And
it's red writing, not green, because green.
Yeah.
Can't have green writing on my red robot.
It didn't, like with the whole Jarvis thing is like you could kind of like play around with that, and just with just the colors of the fonts.
Yeah. Have it blue for Jarvis.
Just like,
slightly robot-y again.
Yeah, and then like eventually, yeah.
Oh no, I suppose you can even do it, like just have him introduce himself as Jarvis. It's like, hi, I'm Jarvis. You want to change the world? It's like, okay.
Yeah.
Jarvis is
I'm an old friend. Hi. Like, I don't know. I think you could use Ultron effectively in a movie like this. Like especially with teenagers. Like he
Still
could be.
slightly robot-y.
Oh, sorry.
That's all right. It happens.
It's Ultron.
So it's like Beetlejuice. You said his name too many times. He's just
Yeah. But yeah, like that would be a great. It's kind of scary too, though.
Yeah, I've decided now I want to add the horror element into it. Like, let's go with something different.
Yeah, I mean, like, why not do? I mean, like, it's almost like more thriller than horror because it's like I don't know. Do what New Mutants promised they were going to do.
Like,
just do something.
I'm making this the New Mutants, but good. Not that I've seen that movie, but I've heard enough about it.
And it won't take Shad underneath a decade to come out either. So.
And it will get a sequel.
Yeah. Did you see that it's on VOD now or Vudu? It's coming out on Vudu and like VOD now.
Oh no.
And my wife is like, "Have you seen this?" I was like, "Do you want to buy it?" No.
So I guess I have. I wish I didn't.
Yeah, I don't know. Disappointment. But yeah, you could do exactly what they promised from the beginning. It's like
obviously not just set it all in one asylum. Like we ain't gonna. I suppose even then you could.
I mean, you could.
I'm gonna save an idea I just had for a sequel. Yeah. I'm gonna save that.
But yeah, I mean I think that would be a good because like I don't know, I would Google Ghost in the Machine. It's like it's a 90s thriller horror film, but it's like I thought about it. I'm like, yeah, I mean it's kind of terrifying to know that your computer is talking back to you and asking you questions, and I mean it's almost relevant.
20 years late, we're literally asking machines to talk back to us now.
Yeah, I was gonna say like it's pretty relevant at this point, so. Like with machines, and
God, you could really Ultron into all of that stuff. That's who came up with Ultron for this? Was it you?
Maybe I don't know. Maybe I think we all both.
Such a damn good idea.
Because we were trying to figure out like a good antagonist for this group, and it's like it's hard. We just started listing off. At some point, we just starting listing off names, and like I think I might have said it first, but I'm not sure. But
even if not, I'm giving you the credit.
I mean,
hell of a good. The more we talked about it, the more I like it. It's just like, you know what? Yeah, I want Ultron. Why is Ultron not a champions win in the comics? Like, come on, Eve Ewing. I'll give you that one for free. Write it, make it happen.
Why isn't he back in comics? Period. I mean, it's like I don't know. It's just,
what?
Well, it's just like what, like it's just like it's a character that doesn't truly die. It's just a character that may not have a physical form.
I think the last I heard of Ultron in the comics, they pulled Hank Pym out. They separated it.
With him. Yeah. That was interesting too. I don't know how. Like, I wish you could weave that with, like, not necessarily Hank Pym, but like maybe put like more of Tony Stark in him.
I mean, we could do it in a different universe one. We ain't gonna be able to do it in our one, unless you have a decaying body stuck on his head.
Well, like maybe they. I mean, like we are talking about Tony Stark. I mean, he probably has his mind backed up on a hard drive somewhere. In like maybe maybe in the like I don't know, maybe Viz has got a little bit of Tony in there, and that's the reason why Ultron is more, I don't know, it sounds kind of generic when I say it out loud, but because it's like kind of like it's kind of like the low hanging fruit when you put Tony in anything at this point, but like
I'd say what we do is we have an alternate dimension Pymtron where Hank Pym made Ultron, and we have that, and then he can just be a multiversal villain.
Yeah, I mean, and like you could just put, I don't know. I kind of wish Hank was more a part of Ultron too. In
Same,
some way.
same.
You know, I just feel like it kind of makes more sense, but like in the MCU, it doesn't make sense because it's like the way they got them
So
both set
the
up
way
is
they
more.
did it, like, you know, obviously you could have easily have had Hank Pym make Ultron. Like, it's just a, you know, Edgar Wright happened, and it wouldn't have made sense. But
Yeah,
you know.
yeah, and like it's just like the MCU Hank in general, it doesn't kind of like his expertise isn't what the expertise of the comics version is. Like, I mean, unless I'm mistaken, I don't know. Like, always thought that Hank Pym
I'll
was more
have
of
to
like
get back to you on that one. I'll have to get back to you on that one. But we are going to wrap this one up right here. Just to cut that
yeah.
conversation short, unfortunately. So yeah, well we'll catch you all next week. So
All right,
goodbye.
bye bye.